What's going on YouTube? When it comes to large body-on-frame SUVs, there is one model that has consistently stood above the rest, the Chevy Tahoe. It's been the sales king for many years, and for 2025, it's receiving a big update with more tech, luxury, and features than ever before. However, the Toyota Sequoia was also recently redesigned, and it's been consistently gaining popularity each year. So is that traction deserved against the Tahoe now that it's been refreshed? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now before we get into it, let's discuss the pricing and equipment levels. If you haven't looked at full-size SUVs in a while, you might be surprised at how expensive these have gotten. We're looking at the fully loaded examples of both. So on the Toyota, that's the Capstone. With four-wheel drive, destination, and a few options, we're setting right at $88,000. As the sales leader, the Tahoe has always been more expensive than the Toyota, so the refresh has bumped the prices up to a new high. After the normal luxury options, and new ones like the 24-inch alloys, our total price is now over the mid-90s for the first time. By the way, if you want to get the best price from local dealerships and access to invoice pricing information for these two models or any vehicle, we have a tool on our website to do just that. It's quite helpful when shopping, so check the link in the description for more information. If you haven't seen one of our comparisons in the past, they are conducted in an objective way. We've done our best to weigh the points awarded throughout in major and minor categories, and at the end, we'll discuss the pricing difference in the value section, as well as a new section of resale and reliability information. But with that being said, let's get into it. Big SUVs tend to have big and bold designs, and that's certainly the case for these two. The High Country Tahoe refreshed its face this year to have a black and chrome design with many intricate details to show that you spent the big bucks. Previously, it had a full chrome look, which is exactly what the Sequoia, on the other hand, embraces. Points won't be awarded for design preferences, but punctuating the edges, they have very premium LED lighting. The Tahoe gets new full LED projector headlights this year that even have fancy animations as you approach and exit the vehicle. Sequoia also gets projector LEDs, and both of them have fog lamps in addition to sequential turn signal indicators. Heading to the sides, both have big boxy shapes, and lengthwise are massive, so make sure to check out if they will fit in your garage. Sequoia comes in a couple inches shorter than the Tahoe, but make sure to stick around to see how the interior and cargo space stack up. Regardless, both throw in massive wheels, but the Tahoes are as big as they get in the auto world. That's right, I didn't misspeak earlier. The Tahoe indeed does have 24-inch alloy wheels, which are the biggest size we've ever seen out of the factory. And that is also enough of a difference to score a point. For those concerned about ride quality, we will certainly be discussing that later in the driving portion of this comparison. Now moving on, the rear designs are boxy and tough, and there is a lot to set them apart when it comes to the details. The Tahoe has stacked taillights as opposed to the Toyota, which uses a horizontal rear lighting setup. Both are fully LED with dynamic signals, but the Chevy has a hidden rear wiper to keep it from being weathered as much, and it has quad exhaust tips. Towing is impressive on both, but the Sequoia leads here by about 10%, just under 9,000 pounds of towing as equipped. Now moving past the designs, both SUVs are loaded with features, like mirrors that heat, fold, automatically dim, and include blind spot monitoring. And as far as all the other safety features, both models give you every safety system as standard equipment for 2025. The only difference is that Tahoe has Super Cruise, which allows for extensive hands-free driving on highways and even some two-lane roads. That's an important benefit for road-tripping vehicles like these. Next up, we have the warranties, where they have the same coverage, besides for Toyota including longer complimentary maintenance. Anyways, that's the end of the exterior comparison, so now let's get to the impressively luxurious interiors. But first,
If you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
So walking up to the vehicles, both are obviously going to have smart entry systems with remote start. However, it's only the Tahoe that has it on the fob free for life. On the flip side, it's the Tahoe that does not have sensors behind the door handle to unlock. And then both models do have power deploying running boards. Now checking out the interiors themselves, they have radically different design themes. The Tahoe's exclusive mocha leather cabin has an upscale country design to it, while the Sequoia's black and white leather cabin has more of an urban chic design. As far as the seats themselves, they are both heated and ventilated with memory functions, but otherwise they are quite different. The Sequoia has more adjustments, since it includes power thigh extension. It also has higher-end semi-aniline leather, and new this year adds power massage abilities, something GM reserves for only the Yukon and Escalade. Now, as far as the broader interior materials, both dress to impress and have appointments more in common with luxury nameplates. Across both upper and middle dashboards, you'll find leather coverings, real wood accents, and stitching patterns that break up the space. Overall, they seem pretty much equivalent and are incredibly nice. After startup, you'll find full digital clusters on both. The Sequoia's is 12.3 inches, compared to the Tahoe's 11-inch setup. But the Tahoe does allow for more useful information to be displayed, such as a full-screen map view. Additionally, while both have head-up displays, the Tahoe's measures in 5 inches larger at a whopping 15 inches compared to 10. Of course, it pretty much goes without saying that both have heated leather-wrapped steering wheels with power adjustment and rain-sensing wipers. Now the next major area to evaluate is interior storage, where both of them are very large. However, Tahoe seems to maximize the space best, because its center console and front storage areas are both larger. Additionally, it's only Tahoe that includes a sliding console for extra secret storage space and security when the vehicle is turned off. The reason for that is probably that the Tahoe has a column-mounted electronic shifter out of the way, while Toyota kept a traditional one on the console. Regardless of your preference, both display multi-view 360-degree camera systems when in reverse. For climate, both have 3-zone automatic setups and have physical knobs to control important functions like temperature. Both also have knobs to control their audio systems, so let's sample them. Both of the systems are very bass heavy and leave a little to be desired for their prices, so no points will be awarded. Now, moving on to the screens. These are big center points of the interiors. The Sequoia used to have a big advantage here with its 14-inch display, but now Chevy has the advantage. It includes a gigantic 17.7-inch display, standard on all trim levels. That's about 23% larger. And both of them have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, although it's only the Chevy with Google Apps built in. That allows you to have things like Google Maps natively inside of your system. Finally, ending the front areas, both have rear camera mirrors and large panoramic sunroofs. But since these are giant 3-row SUVs, there's a lot of talk about the rear areas of the cabin. Here, the Tahoe continues to offer a legroom advantage, and headroom is basically the same in both. The features are also largely the same, both having their own climate controls, heated rear seats, USB ports, and household outlets. However, the Capstone Sequoia includes ventilated back seats, something only available on Yukon and Escalade. The Sequoia also has window sunshades. but only the Tahoe seats can slide forward and back. It's also only the Tahoe that includes rear seat entertainment as equipped. That gives you these large dual screens for keeping the kids entertained. Moving on to the next row of seats, we see more significant differences. Crucially, the Tahoe rides on an independent rear suspension, which is something the Sequoia does not. That means, even though the legroom number is competitive with the third row seats slid all the way back, the reality is that Sequoia feels a lot more cramped. The high floor reduces thigh support and headroom. The same situation plays out in the rear after opening up the hands-free power tailgates. The independent rear suspension and lack of a battery pack allows the Tahoe to deliver significantly more space across all three seating configurations. The Sequoia does have a cargo management system to try to make up for the raised floor and the way that the seats fold, but the Tahoe is the way to go for max space. Features-wise, the rear glass pops independently from the tailgate itself in both models, and they have power folding third rows with full-size spare tires. Just be aware that only the Tahoe has buttons to fold the second row from the cargo area. But there's still a lot of considerations out on the road, so let's go ahead and get into those. Now these two have been very different throughout this video, so it shouldn't be surprising that it applies even more so out on the road. For engines, the Tahoe stays with the tried and true 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8, making 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. The Toyota, on the other hand, goes with a twin-turbo V6 hybrid system. It delivers stellar numbers that exceed the Tahoe, 437 horsepower and a whopping 583 pound-feet of torque.
All right. There's a little bit past 60 miles an hour.
Wow.
Dang, I think the Sequoia knew it was on camera. That's faster than it has been for the rest of the week.
Yeah, I mean, when you go full throttle, honestly, I mean, of course, day-to-day driving, you don't go full throttle that often, but yeah, full throttle, that torque tickled me belly. And that's 60 miles an hour.
You gotta love it.
So, by the sound of it, I can imagine you guys realize that it is not a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder. This is a V8. So, of course, the trend really across the entire auto industry, no matter what segment we're talking about, is really just been downsizing a lot of the engine options, and it's becoming pretty rare to find just that naturally aspirated V8, so we're really happy to see that.
As far as the transmissions are concerned, both have 10-speed automatic transmissions that are nice and responsive, and power is put to the ground via 4-wheel drive systems.
It's kind of more gingerly taking off there. I do want to talk about your 10-speed automatic transmission that you have on board with this Sequoia. So it's a very good transmission. Certainly, we've had no issues with it over the past week. It gives you exactly the power that you need when you need it. So I really have nothing else to say. And in the times that you don't need a bunch of power, it just blends right into the background.
Now, as far as the other element of the powertrain, we also have a 10-speed automatic transmission. It's the same as last year. It's still a very smooth transmission overall. It also has the ability to, drop several gears at once to meet your power need, no matter what.
But more important than power is ride quality. The Tahoe has a threefold advantage here that begins with the independent rear suspension we already mentioned. It also has magnetic ride control, aka adaptive dampers, and a full air suspension. Surprisingly, even with those massive 24-inch wheels, the Tahoe's ride is still smoother and more controlled than the truck-like feel of the Sequoia. It uses a solid rear axle, adaptive dampers, and just an available rear air suspension.
It's a good arrangement. This feels roughly in line with most of the competition. It has a kind of a more traditional truck feel. So if you're comparing to something like a Tahoe with the optional air suspension, it's not going to be comparable to that. It is definitely going to be a little bit rougher than that. But as far as just, being used to a typical SUV feel or the previous generation, this feels pretty nice and smooth out on a road, going over bumps.
How does it ride? And we've been spending this entire afternoon with this Tahoe with the 24-inch alloy wheels on the outside. I have to say the ride quality we found to be pretty good. Now, I say pretty good, and I'm going to explain that a little bit here in just a second, but the fact that we have pretty good ride with 24-inch alloy wheels is exceptionally impressive, and the reason for that is because we have a magnetic ride control system here on the High Country. We also have the available air suspension as tested today, so those two systems working in combination really do give you very good ride quality, even despite those absolutely massive wheels on the outside. I think that's just a very impressive testament to this vehicle.
As far as sound insulation, here at Car Confections, we test every car we review at 55 miles per hour to see how quiet they are. Both come in at good figures, although we can't officially score them due to the Tahoe's figure being tested in Texas on immediate drive. We will definitely be retesting the Tahoe once we get it back in Kentucky soon, but here are the figures for your reference right now.
Alrighty, so it looks like the lowest we're getting here is 58.7.
57.2 decibels before we got soiled by this red light here.
Finally, when it comes to fuel economy, the hybrid Sequoia takes the lead. It achieves 4 mpg combined better than the V8 Tahoe, which will make a significant difference over the lifetime of owning these two. One wild card worth considering is that the Tahoe offers a diesel option. In our reviews and comparisons, we are also adding in reliability and resale information to give you a better picture of the overall value beyond just the original MSRP. Beginning with reliability, we developed the Combined Reliability Index, which takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this respect, these two excel. Toyota takes the #1 spot for all vehicle brands, 16 slots above the industry average, giving it plus 1.6 points. Chevy takes the #2 spot, which is 15 slots above average, and gives it 1.5 points. We also put Mason's economics degree to work to develop a detailed predicted resale value tool. After 5 years and 60,000 miles, both do pretty well. The Toyota comes in with a predicted resale value of 64.5%, and the Chevy 54.7%. That roughly 10% difference will give the Toyota plus 1 point. Resale value is obviously important because it determines how much money you get back. But we can't forget about that price difference at the original purchase. There is a $7,625 difference between these two, which gives Toyota plus 2 points. I want to emphasize that if money, reliability, or resale value matter less to you personally, feel free to disregard these points. And if you'd like to check out all our data about reliability and resale values, as well as learn about our methodology, make sure to head over to carconfections.com/resale and /reliability. Buying a car is a big decision, and this is a great place to compare all the vehicle makes that you might be cross-shopping.
So that's it for another exciting comparison between our top dog Tahoe and that Sequoia, which has been making a comeback in recent years. Let's quickly recap and see who should be your personal winner, though, with some pros and cons both ways. So Sequoia should probably be your pick if you're looking to have the maximum tow rating. Also, if you're looking for massaging seats, that's not offered on the Tahoe. If you want a hybrid powertrain, that's also not offered on the Tahoe, and that will get you better miles per gallon, of course. And then finally, we also have some rear seat features, such as ventilated rear seats and sunshades.
Now, on the flip side, you should pick the tried and true Tahoe if you need the maximum cargo capacity. It has significantly bigger cargo capacity, and it has a bigger third row as well. So those main practicality elements. Also, the drive experience is very different than the Sequoia. You have that traditional V8, as well as a full air suspension with magnetic ride control, which gives you that best ride quality. Additionally, it has technology advantages, including Google built-in as well as Super Cruise. So if you do a lot of highway driving, that's certainly going to be a feature that you appreciate more in the Tahoe. But let us know which one you're taking down below. Are you taking the Sequoia or the Tahoe? If you're looking to buy either one of these SUVs or any new vehicle, we also want to encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you should do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. That's where we're going to leave off on this comparison. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, we'd appreciate it if you subscribe down below. And if you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.